Hi guys, welcome to my next video. I want to talk about how I bought my first car in the US. Now, I want to talk about how I bought my first car in the US. God, it's bright outside today. It's really, really bright. Hey, it's January and look what I'm wearing. And better yet, look what is behind me. Look at those views behind me. They're pretty awesome. But hey, we're getting off topic. I want to talk about my car. Hey, so this is my new car. It's a Ford Taurus 2009 that I bought in Vegas about 2 weeks ago. This is my new baby. So my new baby's got a 3.5 liter engine. It's got a V6 cylinder engine. It's a 6-speed automatic transmission. It's got power door locks. It's got a 263 horsepower engine as well. This is also the biggest car I've ever had. My previous car was a Mazda 2. This car is huge, especially for European sizes. For America, this is just a mid-sized car, I guess. But for Europe, this car is huge. So, let's see. This sometimes doesn't work. Sometimes the automatic key doesn't work. Oh, it worked today. So let's have a look inside. So it's very, very spacious. Let's take these papers out. Beautiful fabric seats. It's a nice wooden dashboard. It's a 6 CD player. The steering wheel came with this leather covering, which I like a lot. It was owned by a girl before, so I don't know if this is girly or not, but I kind of like it. Let's look in the back. It's very spacious in the back as well. And I love these fabric cream colored seats. They're just awesome. I mean, they're so big. They're big enough for me to lay down in. So if I was homeless and I had to live in my car, I would totally do that. Especially over here in California. You have so much space. There you go. There you go. I can lay down and I can sleep in my car. Alright? My feet are sticking out right now, but all I gotta do is just put my feet up. And then I could sleep in my car. Got so much space in it. Lots and lots of space. Okay, so the trunk in the car is pretty big. Let's pop it up. There you go, that's the trunk. It's pretty big. I mean, it goes deep down there. Of course, it's an automatic. This is in England, where everyone drives a stick. This is the land of automatic cars. So, you put it in drive, and we go. Here we go. Automatic door lock. I don't know if you heard that. It drives like a tank. It drives like a big boat. It's just kaboom every time it goes over something, but it's smooth at the same time. It's just heavy and smooth sailing all the way, baby. And I'm hoping we can go across a dip so that I can show you. There's a dip. Let's see. Boom. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. This isn't England. Haha. I'm just being silly. This is an exit. There we go, the gate opens automatically. And we exit the complex where I'm staying at the moment. So let's check out how the car drives on the pretty much empty roads in the town of Palm Springs, which is in Southern California. and it's January 20 something today. I think it's January 28th. I'm not even sure. There we go, that was a dip in the road, and I love how the car responds. The shocks are great. There's lots of stop signs over here. There's another dip. This is one of the worst dips ever, but we're gonna go left. I need to signal. See that dip in the road? Those dips are pretty vicious. You gotta know what you're doing when you go over them. But now we're turning. So it's very smooth driving over here. It's nothing like driving in England or in Poland. It's completely different. So I'm trying to find a park where I can stop and talk a little bit how I came to possess this wonderful car, which was a stroke of luck. And there's a stop sign. These stop signs are everywhere and you have to stop. I'm not used to having to stop at stop signs everywhere I go. In England, there aren't that many stop signs, and I don't know about Poland, I don't remember. But in the US, they're everywhere, and especially on smaller roads. This ahead of us is the tramway. This road leads to, you can take a tram up on that mountain in front of us. This is the San Jacinto Mountains. There's another stop sign. This is actually the street that I came out of in the first place, because we're gonna go to the Ruth Hardy Park, and that's where I go to play some basketball. There's usually someone playing basketball. They're not right now, it's too hot right now. Even though it's January, this is the middle of the winter, can you believe it? But there's usually people playing basketball at that park in the evening or in the afternoon. So we are at the Ruth Hardy Park, which is the park that is local to me, and there seems to be something going on behind us, some sort of a market or whatever, so maybe we'll check it out. But first I just want to quickly tell a story about how I got this car. The first thing I have to admit is that I got incredibly lucky getting this car, because I only searched for this car for 2 days, and I found it after 2 days online. And we were looking, myself and my friend, we were looking at apps like Let Go, eBay, Craigslist, all those apps. Buying a car through those apps will never be easy. It'll always be a challenge, because a lot of people are using those apps to sell their junk. So a lot of those cars out there that those people put on those apps will just be lemons, and they'll be liabilities, something that those people want to get rid of, okay? They don't want to do you a favor by selling you their old junky piece of crap. But we looked at the first two cars we looked at, that's exactly what they were. The second car had the odometer fiddled with, and it only showed 54,000 miles, and the car was from 2001. And when we test drove it, it was rattling. The whole steering wheel was shaking, and we said there's no way in hell this car only has 54,000 miles. So they must have fiddled with the odometer. So you will see things like that. The first car we looked at was also a piece of junk. It also didn't drive very well. The engine was old. Everything was in it was very old and unreliable. And that's why it's so important to have someone that knows about cars with you, because that person can lift the hood up and look at the engine, they can check the oil, they can look at the battery, just check everything, check the transmission, see how the car drives, and they'll be able to tell whether this car is junky or not. And I was lucky enough to have a guy with me who was a car mechanic. And the moment we got into those first two cars, he was like, we're not buying that car, it's a death trap. You'll never be able to drive it from Vegas to California. So we didn't buy those. But at the end of the second day, we came across this car on one of these apps. And when we came across this car, we were like, we have to look at this car. This car looks really good. This car is too good to pass. Now, I of course had a limited budget, and my budget was between $3,000 and $4,000, and $4,000 was a really big stretch. I didn't want to spend $4,000, and this car, this Taurus, was listed at $4,000. So we still went to look at it. Now the moment I got into this car and I saw this dashboard and the solid body that this heavy car has, and the seats, and the moment we turned it on and we saw how wonderful it drives and the sound it makes is great. You know, it's nice and smooth and quiet. It's a smooth and quiet sound. The engine doesn't make a lot of noise. It doesn't rattle when the car drives. Everything is still and smooth. It did have a lot of miles on it. It had about 129,000 miles on it. But at least when I saw the 129,000 miles on it, I knew it was a genuine number. I knew nothing has been fiddled with, and the odometer hasn't been reset, which is an illegal thing to do. So as soon as we drove this car, when we test drove it, I knew this was it. I knew this was going to be my car, and it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. It was a great experience driving that car. And now it does have some faults. So for example, if you look at the window, if you look at it close up, you can see the scratches. The passenger windows are scratched up, and you can't get, that's not dirt. That's just like, it's as if someone had put grains of sand in there and lowered the window and got it all scratched up like that. I don't know how this girl managed to do that, because this car was owned by a girl. And it's the same, exactly the same thing on this side. I don't know if you can see it, but this window is also scratched up. So it had some faults. It's got a little scratches on the body. But overall, I thought it was a really, really good deal, and we negotiated down to $3,850. So we offered $3,600, and the guy said no, $4,000 is the maximum, the minimum that I'm gonna accept. So we're like, come on, it's scratched up. Look at these windows; they've got all these scratches. They're gonna have to be replaced. So the guy budged, and we got it for $3,850. I also want to talk a little bit about registering the car. So I bought this car in Nevada, which is a different state to California. And what happened was, when I bought the car, the owner took the plates with him and left me with no plates. So the next morning I had to go to the Nevada Department of Motor Vehicles in North Las Vegas, and I had to get a special moving permit, and maybe I will show you what that moving permit looks like later, to drive the car to my new place of residence, which is in California. So this guy gave me a 2-week moving permit, and I had to put it right there on the window, and I had to drive around with that until I got my license plates. Now, as you saw earlier on, I've already got my license plates, so all that has already happened. But I had to go, and getting that moving permit cost me only about $9. So it's just a formality. And the only thing I had to show the guy was the title of the car. And when I bought the car, I received the title from the owner, and she signed the title that she is no longer the owner. And I had to sign the title at the bottom saying that I am the new owner. And that's all the guy wanted. He just wanted the title. So this is what a certificate of title looks like to when you're buying a new car. There you go. So at the top it tells you the car registration, the body, the model, the type, the brand. It tells you the odometer miles. I'm covering up these are the names of the previous owners, covering them up for privacy. And yeah, and they just have to sign this document, and then you get the moving permit from the state of Nevada that looked like that. So it says special drive-away permit beginning January 3rd, 2018, ending January 18, 2018. So that meant that during those 2 weeks, I was able to drive this car without the license plates. But those dates have passed, and now I've got my license plates. Yay! Anyway, once I came down to California, I had to go to the local DMV here in Palm Springs, which I did. And at the local DMV, there's some people crossing with a doggy, look at that. At the local DMV, I had to apply, and I had to get the car registration completed in California. So I had to fill out an application. A technician had to look at my car, which he did, and the car passed the examinations, and I had to get the smog certificate. So what they do in the US is that they test your car for smog, how much smog it emits, and if it emits too much smog, then you won't be able to register it. So I passed the smog test. Anyway, then you go to the DMV and you go to the DMV, you give them all the paperwork, and if everything is in order, then you get your license plates, and it costs $167 or so to get your license plates in California. And they give you the physical plates right there and then at the DMV. They give you the physical plates in your hand, and then you are responsible to screw them onto your car. So this is the story how I got my car. And now we're just gonna drive around a little bit. Maybe I'll show you guys a little bit of the town, although that should really be a separate video. I will make a separate video where I will show you the town of Palm Springs and maybe even the adjacent towns of Cathedral City, Rancho Mirage, Palm Desert, and La Quinta, and other places. This is all these towns are kind of located next to each other in the valley. These are the San Jacinto Mountains, and this is the incredible thing about living here. You're so close to beautiful nature. I mean, look at that. It's just gorgeous.